You know all those big problems we're told to worry about? Our health, our money, our happiness? What if they're not the real problem at all? What if they're just symptoms? The source material we're looking at today makes a bold claim that we're all treating the symptoms while the real disease is running wild. So let's dive in. Boom, right there. That one sentence is the entire idea in a nutshell. We're all laser focused on a symptom, like obesity, instead of the actual disease. It's a really provocative idea, suggesting we've been completely misdiagnosing what's holding us back.
Okay, so let's start peeling back the layers. If all the things we see and worry about are just symptoms, then what in the world is the real disease we're supposed to be fighting?
The world loves to point to very specific villains, right? It's the number on the scale, it's the zero in your bank account, it's a diagnosis of depression. We're told these are the big bosses we have to go out and defeat. But here's the twist from our source. What if those are all just shadows on the wall? The claim here is that the real problem, the virus that's actually causing all those symptoms, is something way more basic, just plain old laziness. So let's really dig into that idea, because understanding the difference between a symptom and its root cause is absolutely critical. It's the difference between slapping a Band-Aid on something and actually healing the wound underneath. So here's how this framework breaks it down. On one side, you've got all the visible problems we all recognize. On the other side, just one thing, the single unifying cause: laziness. The argument is brutally simple. If you only ever treat the symptoms, the root cause is just going to keep finding new ways to create new problems. So if laziness is this infectious disease, how exactly does it spread? I mean, it's not like you can catch it from a sneeze, right? Well, according to this view, it's actually way more contagious. See, it spreads invisibly. It spreads through our excuses, through our inaction. It gets passed from person to person. That whole "I'll get to it tomorrow" attitude, that spreads way faster and easier than any virus you could ever imagine. And this is where it gets really sneaky. Laziness almost never shows up and says, "Hi, I'm laziness." Nope. It wears a mask. It disguises itself in these common, totally socially acceptable excuses that make it so easy to ignore. Okay, mask number one, probably the most common one out there. I'm tired. And look, of course, being genuinely tired is a real thing. But this perspective forces you to ask yourself, are you truly exhausted, or is "I'm tired" just the most convenient exit ramp from doing something difficult? Now for a more modern disguise. And this is a really controversial point from the source, so let's be super clear here. We all know that genuine mental health is critically important. The argument here, though, is that the language around it can sometimes be co-opted, used as a shield to avoid challenges that might actually help us get stronger. Oh, this one's a classic, isn't it? "I'm just waiting for motivation to strike." This perspective just flips that completely on its head. It argues that we have it all backward. Motivation isn't some magical lightning bolt you just wait around for. It's the fire that you build by taking that first small action. And then, of course, there's the most famous mask of them all: procrastination. "I'll start tomorrow." It almost feels productive, doesn't it? Like you've made a plan. But according to this view, tomorrow is just laziness borrowing credibility from a future that may never even arrive. So, what happens when you let this disease take over? Well, the effects are pretty devastating. Your body literally begins to soften and decay from not being used. Your willpower, which is like a muscle, just gets weaker and weaker. Your money starts to disappear because you're missing opportunities. And ultimately, your spirit, your drive, it just slowly fades out. Okay, so that's the bad news. But here's the really good news. For this disease, there is a cure. And it's not something you can buy in a bottle or get a prescription for. The cure is movement. That's it. It's that simple. The source calls it brutally simple because there's no catch. There are no hidden steps. It is the direct, perfect antidote to stagnation. So what does movement actually mean in this context? Well, it's a whole protocol. It starts with the physical stuff, for sure. Get up, move your body, go lift something heavy. But it's also about moving your mind, working on your craft, developing your skills. Even the simple act of writing down your goals, that's a form of movement. And this gets to the very core of why it works. See, laziness hates momentum. It thrives on inertia, on you staying perfectly still. The second you introduce any kind of forward motion, no matter how tiny, the disease starts to lose its grip. It just cannot survive an environment of progress. Which brings us to the final and honestly the most important part of this whole idea.
It all boils down to a choice that you have to make not just once, but every single day, in pretty much every single moment. It really is this simple. Every time you face something you need to do, you're standing at a fork in the road. One path is to make an excuse. That choice feeds the disease. The other path is to take an action, any action at all, and that choice starves it. And always remember the payoff. According to this framework, when you finally defeat that root cause, when you beat laziness, the symptoms just take care of themselves. The result isn't just an absence of problems. It's the presence of something powerful, a stronger body, a sharper mind, and a real deep sense of self-respect. So, we end on this question. This isn't about some grand 5-year plan. It's about the very next choice you make. Action or excuse. Which one is it going to be?